My friends, when you hear the words Walmart laptop, what probably comes to mind? Cheap, overloaded with bloatware, excess stuff that you don't need, or things removed that you probably shouldn't have, or maybe like when they had their desktop gaming PCs that they were selling, not fully put together. They couldn't even put the PCI Express power into the graphics cards on those things. However, with this, I was pleasantly surprised. This, my friends, is the Motile 14-inch performance laptop from Walmart, and it pleasantly surprised me for quite a few reasons. So let's go ahead and talk about those after I tell you about today's video sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Privacy.com. Whether you're buying the Motile laptop or anything else on the internet, you want to protect your card's privacy by using Privacy.com because they allow you to create custom cards for each merchant that you go to on the internet. You could use this for your Spotify accounts. You can use this for all of your monthly subscriptions to keep it all nicely tabulated in one section on their website, or you can set limits for per use, per month, however you want, so that you make sure you're not going over on things like a surcharge that you weren't expecting, or you're making sure that in the case that a retailer gets hacked, your card is not then liable for extra money being put on it because you already used all of the things that you allocated to that specific card. Privacy.com is an invaluable tool when shopping on the internet. It's just basically like making sure you're not using the same password on every website. You're not using the same card number on every website. So if you go to privacy.com/UFD, they'll give you $5 free on your first purchase with them to sign up, which means the laptop we're talking about today is $5 cheaper, or you could use it for something that costs $5, like a GeForce Now subscription, and then you would get that first charge for free by using our link down below in the video description. In case their free plan, which you'll sign up for, which technically it's not free, it's minus $5 because they're giving you money to sign up, isn't enough for you, you can sign up for their Pro membership or their Team membership, which gives you added cards, more control. With Teams, you can make sure that in case you run a business like I do, I can make sure that Reece is not spending $3,000 on camera gear like he tried that one time on that $100 card that he had. I can make sure that my business is gonna stay alive when Reece decides to go crazy from lack of sleep and staying inside all of the time. So try out Privacy using the link in the video description, privacy.com/UFD. Get $5 free from them and protect yourself out on the internet while you're shopping. So the immediate thing that struck me about this Motile 14-inch is that I already have a Motile 14-inch laptop. It just happens to be called a Webcam Mic, and it happens to have a few higher specs. You see, my friends, the Webcam Mic is a laptop that I was able to get from our partners down in South Africa, Wootware, who has used Tongfang as an ODM to make their own laptops. So when I saw the Motile 14-inch, I realized I already have this thing. So I thought, how bad could this laptop be from Walmart if I already have a model that I know and love and really, really like to use? I've been using this as my daily driver for over the past 6 months. So that's where I decided to fork out the $200 that this thing cost back at the time. Currently, they're either out of stock or going for $290, probably thanks to the current world economics stuff that's going on with more people working from home, picking up laptops. Prices do seem to have increased a little bit, but for $200 to get something that was closer to $1,000, I was really, really intrigued. So that price disparity is mostly about the specs that are underneath. This is with a Ryzen 3 3200U, has Vega 3 graphics, has 4 gigabytes of RAM in single channel at 2400 megahertz, has a 128 gig SATA hard drive, and a 46.7 watt hour battery, whereas this one has an i5, a dedicated MX250 GPU, plus other specs that make it a higher end laptop. But while the main underneath specs might be different, a lot of the outward specs stay the same. As you can see, they're the exact same build structure. They're the same build quality, and I actually got confused because I sat down with my laptop at my desk and I used the Motile charger and plugged it into my laptop because they're the exact same thing. I got bamboozled just from the charger. And the similarities don't stop at the charger. Also with the I/O, we have things like the HDMI, the USB 3, and the Type-C all on the right-hand side that the Motile 14-inch also has. On the left side, you have the Kensington lock, the Ethernet port, the USB 2.0, a USB 3.0, and a mic headphone combo, which is surprisingly a lot of I/O for a $200-ish laptop. That is crazy. You typically don't see that much input and output going on, but it doesn't seem like Walmart configured the chassis any differently differently from what Tongfeng delivers it as. However, the Motile actually has an I/O that my laptop doesn't, and I wish it did, which is a micro SD card slot right on the front. So if you need to pop that out and put your micro SD card into your laptop, you can absolutely do that. So build quality wise, it's nearly identical. There's no flex in the chassis. The keyboard is as good as the one that's on my more expensive laptop. The trackpad, again, similar quality, and the 14-inch IPS 1080p screen, also of surprisingly good quality for a $200 laptop. In a previous video, we picked up the cheapest laptop we could get at Best Buy, and that was $180. You can check our video about it right up there. That's $180, and that screen was 768p, and then also was TN, so the viewing angles were atrocious. The viewing angles on this are IPS good. Everything about the overall outside of this laptop is completely solid. The underneath is where we get into a little few complications. The Ryzen 3 processor is obviously what it is. It's a low-end, low TDP chip that's not supposed to run surprisingly fast. It's 2 cores, 4 threads, can boost up to around 3.5 gigahertz, and that's okay. However, I will say that the cooling on this is again impressive. The fan and the heatsink on this keep that Ryzen 3 down to about 73 degrees Celsius during heavy loads, which is really good. The main difficulty of this is the fact that it only has single channel RAM, which we know from Ryzen processors, they really value better RAM setups, and so it only has single channel. We're actually losing out on a little bit of performance. How much performance we're losing out on, I can't explicitly say because I haven't had a Ryzen 3 laptop with dual channel RAM, but the single channel RAM version of this with the Vega 3 ran Fortnite at 720p lowest settings at around a 50 FPS average, which isn't unplayable, mind you. You can get this and play really, really low-end esports titles such as Fortnite or League of Legends or Dota 2 or possibly even CSGO. You can get them at playable frame rates. It's a $200 laptop. What do you really expect? You're not buying this for gaming purposes. And if you are, you can get GeForce Now for free or $5 a month, and can you just use cloud streaming for that. So the lack of dual channel RAM is a big bummer, but there's other things under the hood that make it a surprisingly configurable system. Again, for $200, you actually get 2 M.2 slots. The M.2 SSD that comes with this is just a 128 gig SATA SSD, which is what you would expect for the price point. It's 500 megabytes per second read and write, which isn't anything to write home about, but the fact that you can so easily upgrade it. To get under the chassis, all you need to do is uninstall 6 screws and pop it open, and there you have access to all the components that you could possibly upgrade. You can get higher capacity RAM, potentially going up to 16 gigabytes. Again, it'll only stay single channel, but then you have the option of putting in higher capacity or more M.2 SSDs, which is phenomenal for something like this. And as you're looking at the underside, you notice that it has a giant battery. That 46 watt hour battery is good for up to 6 hours of average usage. I'm talking middle of the road, not high performance, not battery saver, doing things like just messing around on YouTube, playing a little bit of light gaming in a browser. You can get roughly 6 hours. When I was actually trying to make it so that I got the most battery out of this, battery saver, brightness lower, just trying to do light tasks, I got around 8 to 9 hours. So that big 46 watt hour battery comes in surprisingly good use on this Motile 14-inch laptop. I would say that the biggest downfall of this laptop is the exact same biggest downfall of my Wootbook Metal. That's the speakers. They suck. They're downward firing. There's not enough elevation off the bottom of where the laptop is for you to actually get any sort of projection around where the laptop is. So you end up hearing this muffled noise, and you'll have to prop it up like this in order to get them to fire at you. Walmart has tried to come around this by using THX, which I'll talk about in a second, but suffice it to say, using THX EQ enhancements, it sounds like they're just amplifying it through a tin can rather than it being of anything of substance. But let's get back to the THX. When I bought this Walmart laptop, I presumed that it was going to be filled with bloatware. Whenever you buy a phone from a cheap company, it's typically loaded with apps. Whenever I've purchased a cheap laptop in the past, such as the Lenovo IdeaPad that I've already mentioned, it had so many unnecessary apps on there that slow it down. Norton antivirus, trials of this, trials of that. Anything you don't want is pre-installed on the laptop. I guess Walmart didn't get the memo to try to get as much money as possible for these, but the only thing pre-installed on this Motile was the THX stuff. So there's a THX web link that sends you to the THX website to talk about how Motile and THX are now partnered together, because I guess that's Walmart's big branding around their Motile laptop. But then there's also the THX EQ app, which allows you to configure the audio on this. That's it. That's it. There's no games, there's no free trials, there's nothing besides a clean user experience once you load this up for the first time, and I was blown away. Again, $200-ish, the same chassis as my $1,000 laptop, and has features that I really enjoy on this. While the speakers are the worst part, they're not the only bad part about this. Let's go ahead and talk about the webcam and microphone on this.
The webcam on the laptop is okay. I mean, it's a 720p webcam. What do you expect out of it, really? But the microphone is weirdly sensitive. Like, if I press the touchpad, that click is super audible. The keys, like, ooh, it picks up a lot. I'm not sure if this would be great for a Zoom call, but you could use it for sure. Just be mindful of noise. Maybe connect an external pair of headphone and mic, and you might have a better experience. The webcam's sufficient. Audio, really lackluster. It's constantly peaking as I'm talking, even just normally. It's a weird little sensitive microphone boy.
But that's basically it. Overall, the entire construction package of this Motile laptop is phenomenal. It blew me away when I picked it up for the first time. It's $200 well spent when I spent $180 on some crappy Lenovo laptop. And anything that has around this spec quality is usually $50 to $100 more than what this is, and typically not as good construction quality and not as simple and elegant as a design as this. Some of you might not like the two-tone design, such as the rose gold with the silver. I'm not personally a big fan of the dual tone. I would have wished it was all rose gold, but for the price that you're paying, I can oversee some of the visual, I guess, aesthetic differences just for the sheer fact that it is a great laptop for either working from home, doing school from home, anything that requires light web work or anything that requires you to remote into a server. This laptop can hit all of those checkboxes very easily. Or whether you're looking for a lower end gaming laptop for a child, this could hit that mark, getting 50 FPS in Fortnite. It can play it. It's playable. It's that type of playable that people who only have ever had crappy computers can understand. You will make sacrifices to play games, and that's what this laptop brings to you with this Ryzen 3 3200U processor. But I love it. I'm smitten. For $200, this is one of the best value laptops that I can see on the market for what it does. It's hard to beat. Again, the pricing's a little different now that the market is a bit shaken up with tons of people buying laptops for work from home environments and with supply chains being disrupted. But Tongfang is a good ODM. I've loved them with all of the Woot books that we've been able to check out over the years. And if you want to pick up something like the Walmart Motile and you're in South Africa, you check out Wootwear. We'll leave a link for them in the video description. The Woot book metal, again, has been my daily driver for everything I do, hot news and otherwise, for over 6 months, and it's held up surprisingly well. I usually have laptops that crap out about this point, and this has been nothing but a amazing laptop to work with. I'm glad that Walmart decided to go with Tongfang. I'm glad that they're not installing a ton of bloatware, and I'm glad that this laptop is such a good value. So check it out at the link in the video description. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to click on the link for today's video sponsor. Privacy.com, my friends, privacy.com/UFD. Get $5 free. Buy this Motile laptop if you want to. Buy something else on the internet. I don't care. As long as you're doing safe shopping, use privacy for it. Link in the video description. And that's gonna wrap up this video. Let me know what you think of the Motile 14-inch performance laptop down below in the comments. Hit the like button. If you enjoyed this video, let us know if there's any other tech products that you want us to check out here at UFD Tech. We'll make sure to try to do so. I'm Brett. You've just been filled in. I'll see your smiling faces again later. Bye.